A lot of games today tend to fall into two categories. The open world RPG, where you run around the map, that's essentially a succession of check marks that you go to, usually to collect 5 barasses in order to complete a quest that will give you 5 aardvark snarts, which you're gonna need in order to craft a wallet that'll let you store 10 more gold coins. Only you don't need just 5 aardvark snarts, you're gonna need about 1,000 of them. You know, the classic Ubisoft game. And the other very, very popular genre is the looter shooter, where you grind for hours and hours and hours to get a weapon that has a plus 1% damage to its statistics. And pretty much that's all you do. There is a constant grind that is seared into these games. Grind that sometimes makes you feel like it was worth it when you get the plus 2% bonus to your weapons and the abilities that you have. But in the end, you just spent hours and hours doing busy work, shutting off your brain, not really enjoying yourself, not really feeling like you live, which, granted, you're playing a video game instead of enjoying the world, instead of going out and meeting other people, exploring this beautiful creation that's so precious and we spend so little time on it. But granted, you can do a lot of cool stuff in video games, so it's okay. My point is, these games really have a terrible, terrible tendency to suck hard when it comes to their basic gameplay loops and the way in which they keep you locked into them through seeming progression systems which don't really progress. They elongate. What's a better term for something that's like progression but not really? It's more like procrastination. I actually had a bit where I would pretend I didn't know what procrastination was and just keep putting it off and off and off again, but it wasn't a good joke. It was just kind of tired. Sort of like the way that these games work is really tired, especially when you see what can be done with such an idea. With the idea of the player progressing. You don't have to stretch that progression over hundreds of hours. Oh, no. 1 hour. At most, 1 hour. That is what I've seen in Slay the Spire, a game that is damn near perfect. I know I'm late to the party. I'm 1 year late because I just got it. It was on the Humble Bundle thing. But I am in awe of how good it is. It is currently my favorite game to go to die in after coming back from work. It has supplanted Synthetic, which was my previous best game released in the past couple of years that I've seen. And these are very, very similar games, but Slay the Spire goes even deeper in its progression system than Synthetic does. And it's the kind of progression system that is not really... well, you are progressing. You are permanently progressing. You are constantly unlocking new items and abilities and tactical options, if you will, that your character can make use of and you can strategize with to unlock just organic, like in your head, new ways of playing the game. The sheer breadth of variety that this game has is astonishing, especially since when you look at it, it's not, there isn't all that much there. It's not a huge sprawling game. It's not a gigantic, it doesn't have a bajillion million cards like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. It's got a limited set, but it does so much with it. So if you haven't played Slay the Spire, it's sort of a roguelike like game in the same vein that Synthetic is, only instead of having a succession of rooms with robots in them that you have to blow up with guns, you have a succession of rooms with monsters in them that you blow up with cards, and everything's turn battle, not real-time battle, and it sort of reminds me a bit of the old Magic the Gathering Chandelier game, also known as the only good PC Magic the Gathering video game. Not that there's a good console one, but it was on the PC only. It has a very, very similar idea and theme to that, but it's not open world like Chandelier was. And in spite of it being a card battle game, you're the only one with cards in it, which really improves the flow of the game, because as much as I loved Magic the Gathering Chandelier, there are often times when I sometimes ended matches because the enemy ran out of cards, and not because I milled them. There wasn't really, there were milling mechanics back in Chandelier as well, but they weren't as defined as they are now in Magic the Gathering, so it would just mean that I played a really, really long match and somehow managed to win because I just had 100 cards instead of 60, which is something you could do in the game. Here, however, it's a lot quicker. You're the only one actually using cards. The enemies use abilities. It makes it flow a lot faster. The entire game takes 1 hour. If you are good at it, you can finish it in 1 hour. You won't. I mean, most of us won't finish it in 1 hour. It took me like a bajillion hours to actually get to the first time at the end. I only got to the end like twice, and I've been playing it for 16 hours. Jesus, that's a long time. And I only got it like 2 weeks ago. And the reason that it keeps me coming back is that its progression system is not the stupid bullshit with plus 1% or plus 5% to your damage, to your abilities, to anything else. Which, going on a tangent here, Synthetic also does. Synthetic, when you upgrade your weapons, they do get plus 5% to something, but that plus 5% is usually attached to a new component, if you will, a new attribute of a weapon that may fundamentally change how it functions. And I really appreciate that about Synthetic. That every time you upgrade, every time you try something new, there's a good chance you're going to get an experience that is wildly different compared to what you had before it. However, I think that maybe things leaned a bit more into that before the Legion Rising update. Since then, they did add a bunch of new stuff, but parts of the game kind of feel like they've worn out a bit, like they've become repetitive. Now, that could also be because I have over 100 hours in Synthetic, which is a lot, but I do feel that it doesn't have enough variety in the way that it plays currently when compared to Slay the Spire. Because in Slay the Spire, you have something called artifacts, which are like sort of like the items you get in Synthetic, only most of these are passive. So they're like the body upgrades you get in Synthetic. Only they're not just positive things, they're also negative things. They're things that will fundamentally change the game. They will turn the rules upside down, inside out, and punch them in the dick. Any item that you can get in the game has the potential of making you play a completely different game. Now, okay, not a completely different game, but a completely different rule set of the same game. You may end up with a character that, well, at the first level of the Spire, has like 3 points of mana and can attack things at normal efficiency. At the next one, you may have a character that has progressively fewer points of mana, but can really hit super hard. Or you can have a character that can no longer regain health, but has a lot of energy. Or a character that can no longer gain money and has no advantages. What I'm getting at is that there is like a bajillion artifacts that you can get in the game, plus potions that may be disabled by some artifacts, plus a lot of neat cards and upgraded versions of those cards, which work together to create an absolutely perfect system, or mostly perfect system, to get you to play it again and again and again and again without seeming like it is played out, or tired, aggravating, annoying. Even after 16 hours, I want to play more. Even after beating it twice actually, the first time I cheated, by the way, even after that, I still want to go in there and play more because it is simply alluring, it is attractive. You don't progress by getting weapons that are plus 1% better. You progress by getting an artifact that will cause every 10th attack you do to deal double damage, and then making a build of cards based around that entire thing. There's a simplicity, a focus, if you will, in its design that is priceless. It is majestic. There is no bullshit here. It is made so that you can enjoy it in short bursts for the rest of your life, and each time it will seem like a different thing, with different room layouts, with different items, different enemies, and you can choose a different character. There's 4 of them, and each play considerably differently. In Synthetic's case, maybe 2-3 of them have what you would call massive differences compared to the rest of them, but most of them are kind of the same. Here, no. Here, oh god, no. Even if they use the same cards, they have access to different items, a lot of them, that fundamentally change how they play. Slay the Spire, I think, is a glorious example of what can be achieved when you fully embrace the essence of a roguelike and truly build upon the concept instead of just having the token, oh, well, see, you die, and then Iron Man mode, you start over, because that's what makes it difficult and cool. It's because it's hard. It's because the enemy takes 5,000 points of damage that you deal in increments of 5, but if you get the plus 1% weapon, you're gonna deal 5 point something damage and you're gonna kill him quicker, and it's hard because that's what makes it good. Because no, god, I despise that stupid kind of design. This is how you make progression. You don't make 1%, 5% upgrades. You make side grades. You make things that make you dread finding an upgrade, because it may fundamentally screw you over to the point where you're not going to finish the game the way you thought you did. You may not finish it at all, but that's okay. It takes 1 hour to beat it, and you can do it again and again and again. It takes shorter time than a match of Dota would, or League of Legends sometimes. Possibly the only other, I would say, mainstream game that had a similar approach to this was Path of Exile, with its giant clusterfunk of a passive 3 that, although it did have plus 1%, plus 5%, plus 3%, plus 10% bonus something, it also had those big nodes that, you no longer take damage from chaos, but your maximum hit points is 1. Deal with it. Well, if you chose this, you probably agreed to deal with it, so good for you. It's this kind of thing that I wish was embraced a bit more by other games, starting with D, ending in probably refunding it, because it's kind of their thing now. Diablo 1 did it. Diablo 1 had weapons that gave you disadvantages. It made choosing them an actual choice, an actual dilemma. Slay the Spire has that in spades. Everything you pick up comes with strings attached. Every choice you make may screw you over just 2 rooms ahead, and you can probably see it coming. You can probably picture how it's gonna happen. It is a wonderful experience that keeps you thinking. It's something that looter shooters in the modern open world genre doesn't do anymore. Those are games you play to turn off your brain and forget you're alive. Don't forget you're alive. It's murder. Play Slay the Spire. You're gonna have an amazing experience, I guess. You're probably gonna say, yes, I've played it and it's not that great. Binding of Isaac was better. Well, I didn't play Binding of Isaac. I kind of skipped over it. I didn't have a chance to, and it kind of creeped me out with that graphic style that reminded me of Super Meat Boy. You should play it anyway. Also, Synthetic, it's going to have a new big update soon. I'm curious to see what they're going to add in it. The game has actually become quite popular recently because of a video somebody made. Not me. You probably know his videos. The comments, the live chat in the game is full of people talking like that now. It's hopefully not ruined. Hopefully not ruined. I hope it's going to be okay. But Slay the Spire, it's always going to be there. It's going to be there exactly how it is now. It's so close to being perfect. I wouldn't say it's perfect because while playing it, I have not yet achieved a moment of zen where I am in touch with every being in this universe. It did not expand my consciousness to the point where I can see the present, future, and past at the same time. But it is close to that. It is simply a fantastic game. And I could have been playing it a year ago. I could have been doing videos about it a year ago. I could have been doing videos, a lot of them, last year if I didn't have to do that day job thing and the other side job thing. But I'm gonna put more of an effort into doing the videos, since now I have a sort of a, they moved me to a different place in the day job, so I don't go to people's offices and tell them how to do stuff in Excel or Word, which is what their job presumed them knowing already. I'm gonna have to learn Python though, so that's how people can program things without the squiggly parentheses. I think we call them accolades. I don't know if that's the term in English. I can fathom how. It's an indentation thing, but it's the whole thing, Python. I also owe you people that new video I was working on. I have the audio recorded. It's been recorded for a while, but it kind of sucks. It doesn't have the proper, gravitas it needs. Also, this video, the version you're hearing now, this is the sucky version of this video. I made a much more energetic, better, just simply flat out amazing version of this video. And Audacity just spit out a 3 GB 10-hour WAV file and crapped itself and erased everything I did. I really miss Adobe Audition. Oh, I really... Even when it failed horribly, it would save what I recorded. It would save it in RAM and just dump it on a hard drive constantly. This one probably can do it too. It's just buried somewhere in a setting. Hopefully it can do it. If not, I'm gonna have to find an alternative. So anyway, the moral of the story is Slay the Spire is an amazing game. I look forward to the people that made the Sailor Moon mod to actually update it to work on the current version, because I want to play that as well. And it has mod support, like a lot of mod support. So it's an endless game. That is a treasure trove. I didn't think I'd see a game like this so soon after Synthetic. It's better than Synthetic, I gotta say. And it all boils down to brevity. Brevity is the soul of wit, or of design. And that's what Slay the Spire does in spades. It doesn't outstay its welcome. You just keep asking it to come back into your life, and it does. And it doesn't disappoint, ever. Unlike, games where you have, quote-unquote, hundreds of hours of gameplay of shooting the same 3 types of enemies, sitting in the same place for hours and hours and hours, hoping they drop a +1 gun that's maybe blue instead of green. So they're making an expansion to the Division that goes back to New York, and I'm just wondering why? Did people actually buy the Division 2? It was the same game. They didn't change a thing. Fundamentally, why? You could be playing Slay the Spire instead of giving money to Ubisoft for something that's not Anno or Settlers. What is wrong with people? They really want to forget they're alive so much? Well, considering the war and the virus and I'm not gonna mention Brexit this time because people got mad in the comments last time I did. I think they figured out I'm actually a lizard person living in the core of the hollow earth in Agartha. I'm here with Lizard George Bush and Lizard George Soros, who are actually the same person. The same lizard. I'm not joking. Boy, this video is gonna get a lot of attention now. But just go play Slay the Spire. It's beautiful. Like that and Untitled Goose Game are just pure, unbridled joy. Goodbye, everybody.